guys, it's Joe. I'm just bringing a quick video because I wanted to start my Card of the Week series, and I mean this week's actually pretty cool because it's my birthday tomorrow and there's the UK Nationals of Final Fantasy TCG happening on Saturday, which I will be attending but I won't be playing in because I didn't qualify. Never mind. Anyways, so the card that we're going to be talking about this week is going to be the Emperor, which is the Opus 2 variant, and being dark, he has a high contention for a place in any deck because he goes up against cards like Cloud or Warrior of Light. So the question, begs the question, does he warrant having a place in any deck? Abso-friggin-lutely. I mean, Emperor is really, really strong. He's just a very, very good unit, and this is why. To start with, Emperor is a 8k power forward with 4 CP that can be paid for with any colour, so 4 CP of any colour because he's dark, meaning that he is on the curve for power. Now, for future reference, because I've talked about the power curve quite frequently, so what you're looking for is the power to kind of match up to be optimal against the cost of the card. So generally, you know, as you can see over here, 2 CP units should be around 5k power, 3 CP units should be about 7k, 4 CP should be about 8k, and anything above 5 should be 9k, unless they have a really good reason not to be. So as you can see here, Emperor is right on the money, but his power isn't the reason that we're playing him, it's his ability that's why we're playing him. So he can shut off any activated abilities or S abilities that your opponent would do just by being on the board, and this shuts off powers from both forwards and backup, so there's a very, very important thing to know. And this refers to anything that has a cost that you actively pay for, but it doesn't negate any passive abilities or triggered effects. A good example of an effect that Emperor can and can't work against is actually, you know, a great example here. It comes from one of my favourite cards in Opus 2, which is Legendary Varn. Now Varn has 2 abilities, one of which can be shut off by Emperor, the other which can't, despite the fact that it's something that the player chooses to do. The S ability can be shut off because it specifically says on Emperor he can shut off S abilities. However, the first ability is a triggered ability because it comes off of him attacking. There's no cost : effect written on Varn, or Varn's first effect, so Emperor can't shut that off. One of the keys to playing Emperor is understanding the things that you can turn off with him and the things that you can't. Now, for Emperor's strengths and weaknesses, he absolutely demolishes any deck that rely heavily on activations like Fusoya, which I've, no first-hand experience for what Fusoya does, what Emperor does to Fusoya, and it's not pretty. Things like Red Mage and Time Mage, he absolutely just shuts down. There's a lot of things that he shuts down, and he's an ever-present threat just by being there. You don't actually have to do anything with Emperor. You just have to sit there on his fabulous backside and just do his thing while the rest of your units do the work for you. Like, he can just sit back on his throne and do his thing, and he's quite happy. So just play him and leave him there. Now, forwards that are heavy on their sort of S abilities or their activated abilities like Tidus or Vincent also have a bit of trouble with Emperor as well, though being 8k and above power with those units means that they can just rely on the brute force to get to him. I mean, generally speaking, to get around Emperor, you're kind of going to want to rely on brute strength. Now, the key to beating Emperor is, as I've said, being bigger than him. It comes from 2 places, or you can just have abilities that just don't care about him. Like I said, the aforementioned Varn, like he's fine generally. Like if you can combo him with things like Black Mage, he's usually fine. Power boosters like Maria or Cecil, they're really, really good against it because they put in the work, though be warned because the Emperor player himself could play this. There's loads of things that you can do, those naturally large units that you could play like Kuja or Emperor Xander. As a matter of fact, Emperor Xander absolutely sits on Emperor's face because he's already bigger than Emperor, and if he dies, he still gets his effect, and he still gets his 5k burn when he attacks as well. There's nothing that Emperor does to Emperor Xander, so if you really don't like Emperor, start running a deck with him in it. It's a really, really strong card, generally speaking, but just like every card, he's perfectly beatable, and, you know, he's also susceptible to 4 CP Odin as well, like most good 4 CP light and dark cards, so that's worth bearing in mind as well. I mean, the decks that I would put Emperor in personally, I think my favourite colours for him are Ice, Wind and Water. Ice because you have access to Devout, which means that if he dies you only have to run 1 copy of him because you can just keep bringing him back. I never really like running more than 1 or 2 copies of him because he doesn't have an S ability of his own, which means that additional copies in your hand are just dead cards. Similarly, I don't really like running the 5 CP Emperor from Opus 1 to try and push into him. I mean, that's a feasible thing that one can do, but it's just not to my taste. Wind has a lot of access to like things that benefit him, like Maria, we've already stated. Aerith can protect him. He's got good back. He's got a lot of support under Wind. And then Water, Cecil. If you have a board with Emperor and Cecil down, there is not a lot your opponent is going to be doing that turn, especially if you have a Minwu down. Well, no, Minwu and Cecil don't wear out. But if you can boost Cecil's power as well, then you're really just sitting pretty behind these two units. There's not a lot your opponent can do. You also have access to Ultimecia underwater, which I know a lot of people have stopped playing, but if you really want to apply a stranglehold to your opponent, then Ultimecia and Emperor together can do some really nasty things. And it gets you around Ashe as well, because she can't reactivate herself, so that's something worth noting. But there's a lot of things that synergize very well with Emperor, and I think he's a very, very strong card, so it's definitely worth picking him up, and you know, he's going to be future-proof for a long time as well, so I definitely recommend this card. So that's it for this video. I did say I wanted to keep it short and sweet, and if you like this content, then please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. There's plenty more Final Fantasy TCG content where this came from. I'm actually going to be at MCM Expo tomorrow in London, so that I will be attending the not tomorrow, on Saturday. Tomorrow was my birthday, as I've said. And I'll be attending the National, so if you want to come and visit me, I'll be with Square Enix's booth, so if you by all means come and say hi, it'd be great to meet people. And that's pretty much all, and I'll leave all the links to all of my social media and my Twitch channel and everything like that in the description box below. If there's any cards that you want to see featured on a card of the week, then write a comment, get in touch. You know I like that stuff, so it's all good. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. See you guys later. Bye.